I'm Patrick, and this is Brian. Together, we just got played. We're at the Cloak and Blaster, and we just played Pwns.
Where Patrick got pwned.
I was pwned pretty hard.
Bet you wish there was some lube.
Join us for Pwns. Brian?
Yes?
Tell us about Pwns.
Sure. Pwns is a 2 to 4 player game of tactical mayhem, in which it feels like South Park meets get off my lawn kind of game, but where each of the players is commanding a team, like a little military team of 4 Pwns. And what these Pwns do is they have special abilities, and it's a spatial tactical kind of game with some elements of take that. Basically, it's a tactics game, and the board is randomized, and there are 4 or 5 different types of terrain. There's grass, there's dry grass, there's water, there's dirt, and then there's also fire and pit tiles that can.
Those are evolutionary pieces. They don't start in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, there's certain cards that'll change, upgrade the tiles or evolve them, as you were saying. But the board is randomized when it's put down. And then each of the players are going to put down their characters on their starting positions. Now, they're also, at the beginning of the game, there are like special abilities that each of the characters have, and they each get one of those special abilities. So when you're placing it, you're going to know, like, I'm going to put my guy who happens to be good at combat or extra range or attacks, or my medic guy is going to go here. So there's some element in strategy in when you're doing your deployment of your characters. The other thing that you're going to know too is each of the players is going to be dealt out 5 different types of, or 5 different cards, which are comprised of attack cards, defense cards, healing cards, and environment type cards, which can be played which at different points in the game, different phases, which we're going to get into in a second. Basically, the game ends when the first player is eliminated, and then it moves to determine the winner by points. Each of the Pwns has 4 health, and each of the Pwns that you have living, assuming you weren't the one player that was eliminated, is going to be worth 3 points. Plus, for every health that they had, you're going to get an additional point. So it's just whoever has the highest points at the end is the winner. So that's the end game. Now, what generally happens during a turn is initiative is determined, and then the first player is going to go. There are 3 phases during your turn. The first phase is movement. You have 3 movement points, which you can allocate and spend between any of your 4 characters. The other thing that you can do is when you move, you can bump into another character, and that's called a collision. When that happens, you're going to take a damage, they're going to take a damage, and then they're also going to get knocked back. So there could be some like cascading knockback effects that can take place where characters are all bumping into characters and taking damage. And if you also plan out your collisions right, you can also then throw them into water or fire or a pit if you're really lucky. So that's movement and collisions. Now remember, your guys only have 4 health apiece, and collisions also are going to deal 1 damage to you. So you can only, you got to plan that out. The second phase is the attack phase. The attack phase, you can play 1 card from your hand, and that's either got to be a range attack or a hand-to-hand combat or something like that, and those are the red cards. The other card you could play is a blue card, which is an environmental effect, which kind of sometimes changes the entire board or the terrain or something like that. Like a hurricane kind of shifts everybody in one direction, which is kind of fun. The third phase is the healing phase. If you happen to have a green card in hand, you can basically heal 1 or all of your Pwns depending on the effect of the heal card itself. At any point during your turn, you can skip one of those phases if it would benefit you to do so. And by doing that, you get to discard or get rid of 1 card in your hand and draw another card. No matter what, at the end of your turn, you're going to draw back up to 5, as will all the other players, because some of the purple cards in there are like counterattacks or dodges or reflections or stuff that they can play, like instant responses to your attacks. So everyone's always going to basically have 5 cards in their hand at the end of every turn. With that, I believe that's what is your favorite thing about Pwns?
Mine is going to be how all those special abilities and cards and and even some environmental effects all kind of work together. It really seems like they spent a lot of time and energy to make sure that everything did click right together and kind of give atmosphere to the whole game. I had one card that allowed me to set every area around me on fire, and then there was another card that I could play during my healing phase that allowed me to heal one. There's also some great cards that affect terrain differently. They really did spend a lot of time and energy to make sure that all these pieces kind of work together and kind of almost told a little story about it. I really dig it. I think they tried hard, it came out nice, and it works well. And if there was one thing that you chose that you would like the most?
My favorite thing about Pwns is that it's a tactical type skirmish game, but it's light. And it works really well with the actual environmental tiles on there. They all do stuff that's fun, and you have to basically, it matters if you're standing on grass, which is, in my opinion, probably the safest thing that you want to be on. But then that kind of opens you up to a lot of ranged attacks and stuff like that, because they know that you're going to try to end up on grass as the safest spot. The dry grass can catch on fire, so you don't want to be on that. A lot of the different cards will actually like affect the terrain or change it and stuff that you don't want. So I think there's it just works well, and it's a nice, simple, tactical game. I mean, there's still lots of depth in there, but the terrain modifiers with the tactics is just what I like. But what would you say is the thing that you like least about Pwns?
It was tough for me to find something that I didn't like about it, because it is a simple, fun game, and I feel like a lot of stuff works well together. I was concerned when I first saw it. I was like, oh man, there's going to be a lot of random elements in this because the board's all random. These little tiles are random too, but they're not. Those little tiles actually evolve in the course of the game, so you can predict how that tile is going to end up possibly. So it's not really random. It's more strategic than that. I would have to guess that the one thing that I would like the least would probably be that it got tight at the end. And we talk all the time about wanting to have a game that has tight points. So as every player plays the game through the course of the game, you feel like you're close and you still can win and everything's still within your grasp. This one may be a little bit too tight. If I have to pick one thing, is that it may stretch the game out a little bit longer than normal, but that wouldn't be really bad because I enjoyed playing the whole time. So there's so many fun little cool elements to it.
You're only complaining it was tight because you were the one that got pwned.
I did get pwned. Yeah, that's true, Brian. A little weird, but it's true. And if there's one thing that you had to pick that you like the least?
The thing that I like least about Pwned is just the style of the artwork. I love tactical games, and I also love like high fantasy games and ultra realistic artwork. And the artwork in this game is like more of like a South Park type artwork. But that said, it does fit. I think it does jive with the flavor of the game. It's a casual tactical game, so the artwork, it does work. It doesn't really detract from the play at all. So
yeah, I actually would have to disagree with you. I feel like the artwork with the way the game plays, it couldn't have been anything else. I really feel like that it complements the game. That's just my opinion. Obviously, we're very different, very, very, very different people.
Anyways, Pwned is actually on Kickstarter right now until October 14th. So make sure you jump over there and back for your copy of Pwned. Pwned.
Pwned. I'm Patrick. That's Brian. I got pwned here at the Cloak and Blaster.
And I'm the pwner.
Not in the way I like to get pwned. Thank you for watching. Just got played. Can we think of any more pwned puns?
Are they puns or innuendos?
You're right. I'm so sorry. It wasn't in my endo. I did get pwned in the end. It was so close. And you guys ringed me.
Yes! I like it.